Now we're going to combine an elicited, identity-primed pro-social trait to an objective description of your product and a benefit of your product or your idea. And the benefit doesn't come from your brain. The benefit comes from their brain. And it is something that you elicited during the desire map expansion process. And so the basic structure is this. Because you have this pro-social trait, you will understand more so than most why XYZ leads to ABC, where XYZ is an objective description of your product and ABC is the benefit that you extracted from their brain during the desire map expansion process. But we're going to back it up a couple of steps, because if you just say, because of your pro-social trait, you will enjoy this because of this, that sounds like you're telling them what to think. You're telling them what to decide. And remember, this is a violation of the ego mechanism defense system. You want to preserve the agency of their mental map at all costs. So we're going to step back a couple of steps and say something like this. I don't know if this makes sense to you, but it's been my experience that people that have pro-social trait X, notice how XYZ can easily lead to ABC. And pro-social trait is whatever you've elicited, and this will allow them to put themselves voluntarily into that kind of imagination that you just said. This might not make sense to you, so there's no pressure right off the bat. There's no pressure. But in my experience, people that have pro-social trait X tend to notice more so than most why XYZ leads to ABC. And we'll be taking this structure and putting it within all of the Milton model language patterns and the linguistic presuppositions, at least the ones that are the most appropriate. And for the pro-social trait, we'll be using social intelligence, decisive action, being able to take decisive action, and being a good teacher, being able to explain things well to others so that they truly understand. And the first Milton model pattern is basically the entire structure of this whole process, which is utilization. Remember, utilization is when you use whatever your target does and fold that into the conversation. Because you're doing this, you can do that. And the famous case of utilization is when Milton Erickson was talking to a hypnotic subject. And he said, and as you close your eyes, you can become even more relaxed. But the subject kept their eyes open. But this didn't rattle Milton. He said, and of course, the more you keep your eyes open, you can become even more relaxed. So you use whatever their target is doing and you fold it into your intention. And this is a very easy process because this is exactly what you're doing. So for the first one, we're using utilization. Because you did X, you can understand why, but we're doing this back through the couple of steps to protect the integrity of their agency. I don't know about you, but it's been my experience that people with very high social intelligence know more so than most that because of their social intelligence, they can see why XYZ can lead to ABC. I don't know if this makes sense to you, but it's been my experience that those that can take decisive action, that because of their decisive action capabilities, they can understand more so than most why XYZ leads to ABC. I don't know if this makes sense to you, but it's been my experience that people that have the capability to understand things and explain them well to others, that because of this capability, they can understand more so than most why XYZ naturally leads to ABC. That's utilization. The next one is better, or a comparative deletion. It's better to do X. If you say it's better to do X, it leaves the question, better than what? And this they'll start wondering what this is, and this burns up brain processor time, so this creates kind of a trancey effect. I'm not sure if this makes sense to you, but it's been my experience that people that can make decisive action, that can make strong choices, understand why it's better to use XYZ to achieve ABC. I don't know if this makes a lot of sense to you, but it's been my experience that people that have high levels of social intelligence understand more so than most why it's better to use XYZ to achieve ABC. I don't know if this makes a lot of sense to you, but it's been my experience that people that can explain things very well to others understand more so than most why it's better to use XYZ to get ABC. What do you think, dear customer?